Hey there, and welcome to this special edition of In This Corner. I'm Amber Dixon, a sports anchor in Las Vegas. This is your normal host, James Smitty Smith. I'm helping them out today with this year-end review, reward, and look-ahead show to 2017. I'll be holding the mitts, he'll be firing the shots, and sometimes I'll throw a counterpunch. Any opening thoughts, or you want to get right to the awards?
No, you've already added so much beauty and spice and pizzazz to this year-end wrap-up, so take it away, Am.
Promoter of the Year and Manager of the Year.
My promoter has to be, from Matchroom Sports, Eddie Hearn. He has done such a tremendous job across the pond, not only with the tremendous fighters. He has Lee Selby, he has Scotty Quigg, James DeGale, heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, but it's not just the fighters, but it's the promotions that he puts on over there. They are simply scintillating, and he is a great young mind in boxing. So Eddie Hearn. And to the manager, Egis Klimas, a gentleman who I spent a lot of time with, had a great time with him in Kazakhstan a few years ago when I really got to know him. But Sergey Kovalev and Vasyl Lomachenko, need I say more? Two of the fighters that he represents, and Egis really does a great job positioning his fighters, and all of his fighters tell me that they love him. So Egis Klimas, my Manager of the Year.
Trainer of the Year.
Trainer of the Year is, it's not going to be one of the usual suspects. We're not going to have Freddie Roach or Robert Garcia or Abel Sanchez or one of the, Virgil Hunter. It's Kevin Barry from New Zealand, a guy that I've known a long time, and Kevin has really been around the sport. He guided David Tua to just the brink of a heavyweight championship, and I always thought David Tua should have won the title. But what he's done with young Joseph Parker, guiding him to the heavyweight championship of the world, at least one of the belts, for a tiny little spot like New Zealand, he's done a great job. Kevin Barry, my mate from New Zealand, is my Trainer of the Year.
Another young fighter, Errol Spence Jr., he gets your Breakout Fighter of the Year award.
And man, he's breaking out and breaking down whoever gets in front of him. I mean, he had 3 knockout wins in this year. What really stands out was that performance against Chris Algieri. It almost resembled a basketball contest, the way he was bouncing him off the floor with those punches. And he's doing it to everybody. And I think he's a guy that we're all going to look to as a future superstar in the welterweight division. I think this upcoming year he could win a title, and he will be a force, and he's also fun, to watch. He is made for TV, man. He brings it.
Upset of the Year.
Yeah, there was a bunch of them, but really I gotta give it to this kid, Joe Smith Jr. To do what he did to Fonfara, I think that fight was in Chicago, and all the Polish people were there, and he knocked him out. I believe it was the first round. And then what he did to B-Hop. He not only knocked him out, he knocked him clear outside the ring and ended his career. And he's a guy who really wasn't on anybody's radar. He was supposed to be the proverbial opponent for Fonfara and for B-Hop, and yet he comes out in knockout fashion on both counts. He's my upset guy for the year.
Knockout of the Year.
Wow, there was some great knockouts. I mean, I think of Deontay Wilder and Spilka. He hit him with a right hand and spun him completely around, and then the brutal artistry of Vasyl Lomachenko setting up that knockout of Martinez. I think it was in round number 5. It wasn't just the punch, but the way he set it up. That was a great knockout. And there were others, but my knockout of the year has to go to the redhead. I mean, Canelo Alvarez and what he did against Amir Khan in round number 6. The exact round I predicted, by the way. And we all had Khan ahead, didn't we, in that fight? Had him winning the fight, boxing well, trying to stay away. But again, Canelo not only threw that shot, but he set it up, and it was devastating, and it stretched Amir Khan out. And that'll be one that I don't know if Khan will be able to recover from. We'll see. But my knockout goes to Canelo Alvarez.
Plenty of shots exchanged in your Fight of the Year.
Wow. Yeah, the Fight of the Year. When I think of fight, I mean just fight, a Gotti Ward type thing. I have to think of Vargas and Salido. I mean, that was a Donnybrook. That was a Pier Sixer. That was just one hell of a scrap. But my Fight of the Year is going to go to Carl Frampton and Leo Santa Cruz, because they gave us some of those same great exchanges, ebb and flow, back and forth, left and right, good stuff on the inside. Didn't need a damn referee at all. I don't even know who refereed the fight. We didn't need one. But at the end of the day, too, there was more skill in that fight, more artistry, if you will. And that was one. And fortunately, what's great, and we'll get to this, we get to see that fight again early in 2017. So my fight of the year, Frampton and Santa Cruz. Do it again with the same kind of fashion.
And the granddaddy of them all, fighter of the year, also going to Frampton.
Yeah, the Irishman, what a performance he put on, not only against what we just mentioned in Santa Cruz in our fight of the year, but defeating Scotty Quigg, another unbeaten guy. I think both Quigg and Santa Cruz were the favorite against him. And what I've seen in Frampton, he's a guy that really, every time I watch him, I see a lot of improvement in his boxing ability, in his fighting on the inside, his entire repertoire. And when you beat two guys, completely different styles, on different sides of the pond, both unbeaten, as an underdog, Frampton, you're my size, and you're my fighter of the year.
Looking forward to seeing him here in Las Vegas, January 28th. We move to your pound-for-pound list. Number one is Gennady Golovkin. He's never fought in Las Vegas.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And hopefully we're going to have him fight Canelo here, right? This year, right?
Exactly.
That'll be on our wish list. You know, it's the sheer dominance of Gennady Golovkin. One of the things that impressed me the most about him this past year against the fight against Kell Brook, everybody said, oh, he's facing a welterweight. He's also facing a damn good welterweight who was actually a little bit bigger than him, I think, when they weighed in. He's also facing a guy who, at the time, I felt was the best welterweight on the planet. He was also facing a guy on his home turf with his partisan crowd, of 20,000 or whatever it was there. And he didn't have a good night. Something wasn't right with Gennady Golovkin. I think he was under the weather, and he still performed, and he still did what he does. He systematically breaks down his opponents, beats them up, and forces them to quit or stops him. And he did it against Kell Brook, and he's my number one guy on the pound-for-pound list.
Your number two pound-for-pound, Andre Ward.
And one of my favorite guys, as you know, he's been unbeaten for like 20 years. He has a gold medalist, our last in the men's category. With the win over Kovalev, I would have no problem putting him number one, or with anybody having him number one. But he's had a lot of inactivity, and that fight was a controversial one, although I had Andre winning. He suffered a knockdown, but yeah, he's right there itching at the top.
Number three, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez.
46-0, an absolute beautiful fighter to watch in the ring. I love the way he uses his angles. I mean, he's like the Energizer Bunny. You don't know where he's at. You need 4 or 5 HD cameras to follow that little cat around. He's beautiful. I think we're going to see some interesting stuff with him going up in weight. We saw that against Quadras, but yeah, he is a fantastic fighter.
Number four, Sergey Kovalev.
The Crusher. And he's done that against everybody but Andre. He did it early in the fight. Andre came on. Let's hope that'll be on our bucket list for a rematch for 2017. But he's right there at the top, too.
5, Terrence Bud Crawford.
Another unbeaten fighter, and a guy that I sense and feel superstar status it's just about right here. And he is a guy that I love to watch fight, improvement every time, and he's great. And another guy who I want to mention, I think he's right underneath him, is Vasyl Lomachenko. A lot of people have him number one. He's only had 8 pro fights. I know he's had 300 amateur fights, a couple of gold medals, but I can't put somebody with 8 fights my number one pound-for-pound fighter, even though nobody is fighting any better than Vasyl at this point.
Number 7, Saul Canelo Alvarez. 8, Keith Thurman. 9, Carl Frampton. 10, Erislandy Lara is tied with another Cuban, Guillermo Rigondeaux, and then also Deontay Wilder, the heavyweight champion from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Let's talk about the heavyweight picture in 2017. Poised to be something special.
That's a great point. It used to be so goes the heavyweight division, so goes boxing. The once most coveted prize in all of sport was to be the heavyweight champion of the world. Now we have a plethora of them. But we have some young guys with some talent. Anthony Joshua, a gold medalist. Deontay Wilder, a champion, and who can really punch, and he's fun to watch and a specimen. And you got Joseph Parker, newly crowned New Zealand lad who has a lot of potential, and and then you got Tyson Fury, and if he can get his stuff together, he obviously already beat Klitschko, who's hanging around Vladimir, who's going to fight Joshua, and to be honest with you, what a great time, Amber, for a heavyweight tournament. For a tournament to have all of these guys, and I think they're all willing to fight each other. They're damn big enough to be fighting each other, right? No excuses, no weights. So yeah, I would love to see it, because I think out of this could come something kind of special and would be a resurgence into the heavyweight division. And I think it would transcend, certainly here in this country, because again, everybody loves to see the big guys.
Talking about 2017, what do you think about women's boxing? Is it going to be bigger because of Claressa Shields, Olympic gold medalist, two-time?
And I was so happy to see it. Shields, a two-time gold medalist. That's something pretty special. And I go back to the Christy Martins and the Layla Alis and the Lucia Rikers, and I remember Ann Wolfe. I don't want to mention because I called all of their fights. Samaya Anani. We need to see more of it, because one thing about and I've told you this from the beginning, a woman, when you put a young lady into the gym, because they're not worried about bravado and all that, they're concentrating, and they pick up the skills sometimes and usually quicker than a guy does, and they pay attention, and there's nothing like a woman's spite, is there, Amber? So, I think that transcends into making some great fights. So I want to see a resurgence, and promoters out there. Listen, there was nothing better than before Mike Tyson would come in, Christy Martin setting the table. So damn it, we got a gold medalist, a two-time gold medalist, so let's have her on more of these big cards.
And finally, the fight that probably several promoters would like to get their hands into, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor.
Well, let me just say this. First off, I don't think Floyd's going to rest at 49-0. He's trying. I mean, he's spending money. He's buying houses. He's jet setting. He's opening up a strip club here in Las Vegas. But I still think he's coming back. And I think he'll probably come back against a real fighter, a boxer fighter. Right. I would absolutely love to see it I won't even mention my selfish reasons. You can if you'd like. But because first off, there's so much talk, yap, 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 with the MMA people. They actually believe in their delusional state that he would have a chance in a boxing match. And it's, boxing and MMA, it's still entertainment. It would make Floyd the most money for the least amount of risk. And I think it would be a great promotion, and we'd be a part of it, and so I wouldn't mind it at all. I mean, Muhammad Ali fought Antonio Inoki, and a lot of fighters went on, to do professional wrestling, like Mike Tyson and Joe Louis and Buster Douglas. So I wouldn't mind it, and it would be so much fun to watch Floyd beat his ass. I mean, it really would. With
the passing of Muhammad Ali, the greatest, making his final exit from the ring, what did his passing mean to you? Well, it meant so much because he meant so much to me, not only as what I do for a living, this sport, but even as a man, because I'm kind of known for my sense of bravado, and he had a lot to do with that. I kind of had it going, but the fact that he embraced it and accepted it when I was hanging out with him as a little boy at the Fifth Street Gym, and just watching him handle everything, and especially I think about it now, Amber, with humility. When he lost to Joe Frazier, March 8, 1970, the way he handled loss, the next day in a hospital bed with a swollen jaw, saying, "I ain't so pretty no more." And public sentiment changed. I mean, you got to remember, 50% of the people, maybe more, especially white people, didn't even like Muhammad Ali because his refusal, to go into the armed services and what have you. And that, the way he handled defeat, really showed that he could do it all and handle it all and be it all. And for young people out there, not just fighters, but in general, the dignity, the respect,
the fierce loyalty he had to whatever he stood for and was standing for. Not to mention, he was a pretty damn good fighter.
Part of his impact on your life led you to some of your accomplishments this year, I think, had a direct impact. Let's talk about the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Wow, what an honor it was to get the call from Ed Brophy. Actually, I think I got the call in February. He asked me would I host all the activities there, and I said I'd be thrilled to. And then it took on a completely different meaning, Amber, when the week before, the Friday before, was the passing of Muhammad Ali, and so many people of the greats that were going to be there in attendance in Canastota. Their travel changed because they had to go to Louisville where the funeral was. And I had to, kind of set the stage and take over everything there and handle everything there and to be with the crowd, boxing fans, and be able to share stories of not just a brush with greatness. I was around him all the time. And then to be with a Colonel Bob Sheridan and a Jerry Eisenberg and, different people that were there being inducted and to talk and then let the fans talk. And I, moderated that. It was just so, I knew I don't believe there are any coincidences. So there was a reason why I got that call. And it was really, and it really helped me. It was cathartic for me to help me get through the passing of Ali.
And from hosting the International Boxing Hall of Fame, you went on to a couple months later being inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. And you were there presenting me, and I can't think of anything. I'm from Florida, and I live here in Nevada, and so I got both of these, and so that's pretty thrilling to be able to be honored in boxing in the two places that really I've called home.
And inducted into what category again? It was media?
No, it was as a featherweight, as one of the great featherweight fighters of all time.
You wish. Okay.
And now I want to say something to the fighters, the prize fighters, the boxers, the gladiators. You don't just enter the damn arena. You climb inside the squared circle and you put your careers on the line. You put your health on the line. And yes, you put your lives on the line every time you enter those ropes. I want to thank so many of you personally who have been on my show and did me the honor, man, by lacing up the gloves with me in this corner to showcase and uniquely demonstrate your remarkable fistic skills. These skills have made all of you champions, greats, and some of you living legends. What our show can't really demonstrate are the unseen qualities that make you the prize fighter so very special. Remarkable heart, tremendous determination, and unbelievable resiliency. These qualities make you fighters the most common and uncommon of all professional athletes.
Any closing thoughts, Smitty?
In a year where we lost the greatest Muhammad Ali, who meant so much for me personally, and for the sport of boxing, and for humanity in general, and with what's happened in this country, I just want us to really remember and try to always think about how Muhammad Ali lived his life, good, the bad, and the ugly. But at the end of the day, he was a real man.
And a perfect way to end is one of his quotes: "Service to others is the rent we pay for our room here on earth." Thanks so much for joining us. Have a blessed 2017.